Space tourism is human space travel for recreational purposes. There are several different types of space tourism, including orbital, suborbital and lunar space tourism. Work also continues towards developing suborbital space tourism vehicles. This is being done by aerospace companies like Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic. In addition, SpaceX announced in 2018 that they are planning on sending space tourists, including Yusaku Maezawa, on a free return trajectory around the moon on the Starship. During the period from 2001 to 2009, 7 space tourists made 8 space flights aboard a Russian Soyuz spacecraft to the International Space Station, brokered by Space Adventures in conjunction with Roscosmos and RSC Energia. The publicized price was in the range of $20 to $25 million per trip. Some space tourists have signed contracts with third parties to conduct certain research activities while in orbit. By 2007, space tourism was thought to be one of the earliest markets that would emerge for commercial spaceflight. 11 Russia halted orbital space tourism in 2010 due to the increase in the International Space Station crew size, using the seats for expedition crews that would previously have been sold to paying spaceflight participants. Orbital tourist flights were set to resume in 2015, but the one planned was postponed indefinitely, and none have occurred since 2009. On June 7, 2019, NASA announced that starting in 2020, the organization aims to start allowing private astronauts to go on the International Space Station, with the use of SpaceX's Crew Dragon spacecraft and Boeing Starliner spacecraft for public astronauts, which is planned to be priced at $35,000 per day for one astronaut, and an estimated $50 million for the ride there and back. The Soviet space program was successful in broadening the pool of cosmonauts. The Soviet Interkosmos program included cosmonauts selected from Warsaw Pact member countries. Most of these cosmonauts received full training for their missions and were treated as equals, but were generally given shorter flights than Soviet cosmonauts. The European Space Agency also took advantage of the program. The US Space Shuttle program included payload specialist positions which were usually filled by representatives of companies or institutions managing a specific payload on that mission. These payload specialists did not receive the same training as professional NASA astronauts and were not employed by NASA. In 1983, Ulf Merbold from ISA and Byron Lichtenberg from MIT were the first payload specialists to fly on the Space Shuttle, on mission STS-9. In 1984, Charles D. Walker became the first non-government astronaut to fly, with his employer McDonnell Douglas paying $40,000 for his flight. 74 to 75 during the 1970s. Shuttle prime contractor Rockwell International studied a $200-300 million removable cabin that could fit into the shuttle's cargo bay. The cabin could carry up to 74 passengers into orbit for up to 3 days. Space Habitation Design Associates proposed, in 1983, a cabin for 72 passengers in the bay. Passengers were located in 6 sections, each with windows and its own loading ramp, and with seats in different configurations for launch and landing. Another proposal was based on the Spacelab habitation modules, which provided 32 seats in the payload bay in addition to those in the cockpit area. A 1985 presentation to the National Space Society stated that, although flying tourists in the cabin would cost $1 to $1.5 million per passenger without government subsidy, within 15 years 30,000 people a year would pay $25,000 each to fly in space on new spacecraft. The presentation also forecast flights to lunar orbit within 30 years and visits to the lunar surface within 50 years. As the shuttle program expanded in the early 1980s, NASA began a spaceflight participant program to allow citizens without scientific or governmental roles to fly. Krista McAuliffe was chosen as the first teacher in space in July 1985 from 11,400 applicants. 1,700 applied for the Journalist in Space program. An artist in space program was considered. And NASA expected that after McAuliffe's flight 2 to 3 civilians a year would fly on the shuttle. After McAuliffe was killed in the Challenger disaster in January 1986, the programs were cancelled. McAuliffe's backup, Barbara Morgan, eventually got hired in 1998 as a professional astronaut and flew on STS-118 as a mission specialist. 84 to 85, a second journalist in space program, in which NASA green-lighted Miles O'Brien to fly on the space shuttle, was scheduled to be announced in 2003. That program was cancelled in the wake of the Columbia disaster on STS-107 and subsequent emphasis on finishing the International Space Station before retiring the Space Shuttle. Initially, senior figures at NASA strongly opposed space tourism on principle. From the beginning of the IS expeditions, NASA stated it was not interested in accommodating paying guests.